Okay guys, I want to go over the test review. We will use the calculator tricks by hand. Let's just get started. You have your test next week. This is the packet you need to get from me today or tomorrow. You will see all the problems all the way up. The test review, there are 20 problems. The last two problems, you don't have to do anything. They're just, it's just information to remember. And then I included the key to this test review. And excuse the noise, it's the kids in the hallway. I'm here at the school. So you have the key to the review attached to the packet. So let's get started. I want you to hear me go through it. Excuse me. Number one, what is the slope of the line perpendicular to this? First thing, slope for this equation is not -3 because this is not solved for y. So you have to add 3x to the other side. And remember, when solving for y, that is not 8. It stays separate. Let me zoom in a little bit. It'll probably make it a little easier to see. Sorry if that's hurting your eyes. Cancel this, took it to this side, bring down my equal sign. This is now 3x plus 5. It will stay separate. That's gone, so I'm just left with the y. I brought the y down. Okay? And now we see that the slope of this line is 3. So if the slope, I'm going to write a different color, of this line is 3, and I want it perpendicular, the slope of the line perpendicular, change the sign of this, and then flip it. That means you had to put it over 1, and then turn it upside down. And so the slope of a -1/3 would be perpendicular to this problem. Answer is D. Number 2. Excuse me. The equation 1/2 x minus 3 is parallel to, I should have took that 2 out, sorry guys, is parallel to, perpendicular to, or is not perpendicular but intersects the second equation. So let's figure out what is what. This one is solved for y, so m is 1/2. This one over here is not solved for y, so let's divide by 8. When we divide by 8, our new equation is y equals 4 divided by 8 is 1/2. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Now we have our slope of 1/2, and then we have a slope over here of 1/2. M equals 1/2. They match, therefore this equation is parallel to this equation. Number 3, explain why y equals 2x minus 1 and y equals -3x plus 4 are intersecting lines that are not perpendicular. I want to take my time and show you number 3, not on graph paper, not on the calculator, but on graph paper. Okay, so we should know by hand how to graph -1 as the y-intercept, so B, -1. Now, slope of 2 means I'm going to go up to, check, make sure it's not bleeding through over here. I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Remember to put the slope in fraction form. So y equals 2x minus 1 means b is -1, and my m is going to be 2 over 1. So up to 1, 2, and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. Up 2 and over 1. Up 2 over 1. Same thing. Down. And then if you notice the line is going this way, if I drew it kind of, or sketched it, so I need to go the opposite. Down 2 and left. Down 2 and left. down 2, and left. Okay, you need to use a straight edge to connect, so let me do that. And scoot it over so that it can go directly through the middle of these dots. Perfect. Now we graph the other equation, negative 3x plus 4. I'm going to go to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go down 3 because b was 4. M is negative 3 over 1. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and over 1. And what's amazing is we actually found the solution to that system, not meaning to, but it happened. I didn't set it up that way last night when I made your review. Now I want to explain something. These lines intersect, and I want to make sure that you guys get that part. They do intersect, but they are not perpendicular. So let me prove it using the protractor that I have already marked up. I want you to understand that this line here is going to go and match with this blue line at the bottom. And I love that we have a red and blue so you can see the difference in the colors. So let them match up. I'm going to go ahead and put that intersection in the middle. And you see how this line is off a little bit? I'm going to make sure it matches. It's lined up. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay. Everything's lined up, lined up. So the other line is going to point at these numbers. And so that you can really see this, I'm opening drawers, looking for paper to kind of cover up so that you can see better. Yeah, that's better. I like it. Sorry for the noise, guys. I just want to make sure that as I'm doing this video, you really can see. Ah, perfect. If we just kind of white out everything and only look at the graph, I want you to understand what we're looking at. This blue line on top of this red line, the dot here in the middle of the protractor is on top of the intersection. So let me take it up so you can see. This little dot here, open space, I'm putting that on the intersection. Okay, and this blue line here is going to lay on top of that line. Do it again. Okay, there we go. And the other line is pointing towards these numbers, so I know how big this angle is. If the angle reaches all the way to what I already have marked off, 90, I know it's perpendicular. So 90 would be here. And as you can see, this red line doesn't reach 90. It stops between 40 and 50. You wouldn't use the bottom because this angle is really small. That's acute, so we're going to use the top numbers. But I can tell you from here all the way to here, it's 130 something. You look at the bottom number for that. But for this angle from here to here, it's between 40 and 50, maybe about 45. So this is not perpendicular. These lines are not perpendicular. So I know I took a little time on that one question, but I wanted to clear that up and make it very clear to you that they do not create a 90-degree angle. So that is why the intersecting lines are not perpendicular. Number 4, explain why 4x plus 5 equals 3y. Explain why y equals 4x plus 5 and 3y equals 12x minus 1 do not have a solution. So we can graph it by hand, or we can use a calculator. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start at the home screen, hit new document. I'm going to tell the calculator to no, I don't want to save. I'm going to go to the graph. And then I am going to put in the new equation, 4x plus 5. I do not do this because the f of x is the y. It's just in function notation, meaning I could rewrite this problem to look like that. So 4x plus 5. Enter. Good job. Then the next equation is not solved for y, so I have to first divide it by 3. And I have y equals 4x minus 1/3. Now some of you already remember, let me hit tab, because that's the only way to bring him back up. You already remember that parallel lines have the same slope. Some of you have forgotten, so graphing this is going to be really important for you. But as you can see, they are parallel. They do not cross. No solution systems are lines that are parallel. So, they are parallel lines that do not touch. You remember, they have to meet up, and they don't meet up. So that is why they do not have a solution. Number 5, write an equation parallel and perpendicular to the, that should say graph below. I apologize. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and do number 5. So we're going to go to 1. And that's my b. So b equals 1. And then I am going to go down 1 and write 4. I'm counting the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't count the lines. Be careful because you'll count too many lines. So the slope is down 1, right 4. Down 1, right 4. That's a negative for the down, positive for the right. So the equation of this line is y equals negative 1/4 x plus 1. Now that I have the equation, I can write one parallel. That just means it needs to have the same slope. So y equals negative 1/4 x. It could be anything. Plus 3, plus 8, minus 1, minus 0.5. Doesn't matter. The y-intercept doesn't matter. The slope has to match. For perpendicular, I change the sign, and then I flip. So it would be a positive 4x plus anything, or minus anything, plus a negative 2. There you go. Number 6, write an equation of a line. Now 6 and 7 you don't know how to do, but let me take that back. You do know how to do number 6. We have just never put it all together. So that's why I'm doing the video, to make sure that you get practice on it prior to the test. We will review this in class. This is the first thing we will do. It's mandatory that you know this. We just didn't have a lot of time in class to cover it. So it's in the curriculum. I got to teach it. So I'm throwing it in there so you can get it. We've spent so much time on word problems. Okay, so this is my point, and we're used to seeing a point and slope. What's different about number 6? Parallel to this. You will take the slope from here. So first let's solve it for y, because it did not solve for y. Negative 3x plus 2. So m is negative 3. Well, that's all we needed. Knowing that m is negative 3, and now having this point, you can use the shortcut, guys, that I showed you. And the shortcut was to go get your graph paper, and we need to plot 5, 1. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And then we needed to plot the slope negative 3. So that means if slope is negative 3, put it over 1 and go down 1, 2, 3 and over 1. 1, and that's all we need. I was going to keep going, but I forgot. I got to stop. The reason for doing this is to use the shortcut. If this is 5, 1, This would be 6, because this is 5. This would be 6, negative 2. Now that I have 2 points, I can use menu 613. So, menu, I'm in the wrong screen. Control dock, let's add a calculator. Menu, statistics, that's 6. 1, that's stat calculations. 3, that's linear regression. Let's put our squiggly lines in and put in the x values, not the y values. The x values, 1, comma, negative 2. You gotta make, I left out the squiggly lines, didn't I? A lot of you do that, and that's why you don't get an answer. So, let's check before I press enter. 5 and 6, that would be the x list. 1 and a negative 2, that would be the y list. It's going to put the equation for me in the graph, function number 3, if I wanted to see it. Press enter twice. It tells me that m is negative 3 and b is positive 16. So I come in and I write negative 3x plus 16. And that's how you use menu 613. I'm going to do number 7 different because it says perpendicular. Perpendicular slope for this that passes through this line. Perpendicular slope means take the slope, and I don't have to solve this one for y. It's already solved for y. So perpendicular to that means change the sign, flip it. I need to use this slope. So I'm going to do 2 ways. First way, I'm going to take y equals mx plus b. Let me zoom this in because I'm going to write it pretty small. Okay, I'm gonna plug in my y, which is 1, my slope, which is 2, my x, which is 5. That's multiplication. And I'm gonna turn on the light and see if it can get a little lighter. Okay, that's better. 1 equals 10 plus b. And I am going to subtract 10 from both sides, and I get b equals negative 9. And I'm going to write the equation as y equals, plug in the m, which is 2, because that's perpendicular to that equation, 2x minus 9. The other way, you can write the point slope formula times x minus x1. Slope is 2, x minus, and let's plug in x1, which is 5, y1, which is 1. Now I distribute, and that's 10. And then when I do this part and I move the 1, I only move it to the 10, not the 2. That's not the same as solving it from standard into slope intercept, where you do it to all 3. No, this is not multiplied. We're adding, so we can only add to this one because he has no letter and he has no letter. Can't add it to him. So 2x minus 9. And they both match. Doesn't matter which way you do it. You can also do the shortcut that I did for number 6 on number 7. All 3 ways work. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video because I've been talking for a minute, and I'll start a new one. We'll start on number 8.